So, Ben Bateman, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Easy answer. Point Break. No question. 91.
Oh my God. I was hoping maybe I'll throw you a curveball, but you had it ready to go.
Look, man, I only live to get radical, so that's...
Why Point Break?
My older brother is about a decade older than me, just about.
Yeah.
He got me a VHS copy for it when I was like 12.
Okay.
He got me that and The Player, weirdly enough. He liked both movies a lot.
Yeah.
And he would tell me how sweet all these Johnny Utah lines were from Point Break. And I idolized my older brother. I idolized him. And so I watched it. And when I was the only 12-year-old kid in middle school who was just like quoting Point Break and being like, you guys have to watch this movie. Okay. It's a legend. And then
it is, which would date me then, because I'm obviously a decade older than you, because I grew up with Point Break and you found it later in life.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many things about it. I love that era of Gary Busey so much.
Oh yeah.
That is the most magnetic Swayze role ever, and the Swayze is my all-time favorite.
Yeah. He's the best. What year did it come out?
1991.
Okay. I mean, I figured I'd try to throw you a loop here, but, this is the Reilly Roundtable. We are going to talk about movies. We are going to talk about your life, Ben Bateman, but we're also going to talk about the Schmoedown.
Oh, yeah. I like that thing.
And how we do like it, how we find ourselves partners coming up. But I thought I'd, throw you the favorite movie line. I love that it's Point Break. And you knew you're now the face of movie release dates on the wheel.
Yeah,
so
right.
You did not disappoint. And I'm sure a lot of people tuning in wanted to know, they're seeing the thumbnail, they're seeing the title probably, which I'm going to create, Schmoedown, so everybody's interested. But I wanted to start with movies.
Yeah.
Point Break, good answer, man. Good answer.
Point Break walks that line. So I do a show called Action Movie Anatomy every week over on the Popcorn Talk Network, and we have 3 categories at the end of the show. We separate the movies into 3 categories. There's 3 action movie categories. There's totally ridiculous, totally legitimate, and ridiculously legitimate.
Okay.
So totally legit movie would be anything from like The Fugitive to Lone Survivor. Okay.
Perfect.
You don't really laugh. It doesn't lose you at any point.
Lone Survivor. Ooh.
Great movie.
Yeah, great movie.
Love that movie.
Real.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. Gotcha.
Totally ridiculous. Con Air, Face Off, Demolition Man.
Sure.
John Wick 2. Silly to the nines. Great. We don't do bad movies on the show, but you laugh pretty much the whole way through, and it's just absurd.
Got it.
Ridiculously legit, the middle category, is where something really great, something grounded, meets the campy silliness. So when we founded the show, we wanted to do all movies like that. And Point Break to me is almost like the most movie like that ever. Because it's Swayze's so good.
Yeah.
And the movie is exciting. It's well put, it's well paced.
Yeah.
But Utah's so ridiculous.
He is.
He's so silly. Busey's so ridiculous.
Utah.
Give me 2. Yeah. So I think that's to me, Point Break is just that movie.
It's a perfect description for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorites growing up. I mean, Catherine Bigelow. I mean, Gary Busey, of course. Patrick Swayze. Keanu Reeves, of course. Lori Petty.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, how could you go wrong with that?
John C. McGinley.
Yeah, John C. McGinley. That's right.
Last year at Comic-Con, I got John C. This is a clip, actually. You can find it. It's online. I said, they say a great actor never forgets his lines. And he's like, oh, geez. And I go, see if you can finish this line for me.
Okay.
You know nothing. You know less than nothing. In fact, and he goes, if you even knew that you know nothing, that'd be something, but you don't. And I was just like, yes, yes. I was like, it happened. It finally happened. So,
that's awesome. And of course, Tom Sizemore that gets outed in the middle. Sorry, spoiler alert
Anthony
for
Kiedis,
a 30-year-old movie. Anthony Kiedis, shoots his foot. Yeah. That's a great pick. I'm glad I asked. We're going to get into it all, so let's talk about that. Hello and welcome. It's episode 15 of the Reilly Roundtable. This is a show about movies. It's a show about life. It's a show about movies and life and everything in between. And I'm just doing it. I'm going right into it. I brought in the boss, Ben Bateman, to join me on episode 15. Are you going to put on your glasses? You better.
I feel that if I'm a boss, at least for a second, I got to wear them, right?
Yeah. You got to do the full thing because the boss is here. Ben Bateman is here. He is my partner in the Schmoedown right now. Anarchy it's underway. And I thought, why not have the guy in, talk movies, talk life, and talk Schmoedown?
Yeah.
Because, we got to bury some things as we get ready for our run towards that belt.
There's no doubt about it. We've got some exciting matches coming up here.
Good matches.
To kick off the tournament, and the first round is going to be a minefield. So we've got a tough challenge ahead of us.
We sure do, and so we're going to get into that a little bit later. But Ben Bateman, thanks for joining me, my friend. How are you?
I'm well. This for a fact. These are going to come off now.
Yeah. I mean, you can
hurt my temples under these.
You can wear them if you want, but it's not required. It's not required costuming for the Reilly Roundtable.
I'm doing well. I just came from a taping. I mentioned my show, and we did The Abyss on our show today.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, which I
love The Abyss.
I realized that I hadn't watched The Abyss all the way through, maybe ever.
Really?
Are there those movies for you where you can remember it was on somewhere at a party or a function, and you've seen bits on cable and it gets referenced, but you haven't taken the time to just sit and watch it?
Yeah. I've noticed that. So I'm doing a little work for some Halloween content we have coming up in Collider, and I was doing some research on the Halloween movies, and I made it to Halloween 2, 2009, the reboot sequel, Rob Zombie, and I realized, I never watched this thing all the way through.
Yeah, right.
Because I was like, how does she die again? And I was like compiling kills. Excuse me, and I was like, oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I guess I missed that. You know why I missed it? Because the first one was garbage.
Yeah.
And the second one was even more hot garbage, from what I've heard. So
I've heard the new one's very good, though.
The new one I hear is fantastic.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that.
I'll bet you're excited.
I'm a horror guy, as you know, and so let's first talk about some movies. I love that Point Break. Is your favorite movie.
It's a great film.
And I thought I could maybe get you to do the old, ooh, what is it? You know, because when people ask me, I vacillate between Jaws and E.T. every time, or Empire sometimes, or Godfather sometimes. Depends on my mood. For you, you're like Point Break.
Well, I did a thing. So Point Break's admittedly been my favorite movie for a long time.
Yeah.
That's the only easy answer.
Yeah.
I did a thing last year where I compiled my list, ranked my 50 favorite films of all time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I actually, it's been
And Point Break was number one?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's been almost 2 years. So the rules when I made it were that nothing in the previous 12 months of release could be on there. So at the time I made it, Logan and La La Land I loved, but I couldn't include.
Okay.
It was one of those things where it took me about a month to do because I wanted to make sure, as I remembered a movie, that I put it in. I was doing a show at the time. I was counting down. I got through 39, and that show ended. So I never fully did it.
Okay.
But I had it written down. And so Point Break was 1. Boogie Nights was 2.
I was going to ask you, what are the top 5? So Boogie Nights 2, great pick.
Magnolia 3.
Oh, yeah. You're a Paul Thomas Anderson guy,
Because they're kind of, those two are one hand in hand.
Yeah,
and some days I love one more than the other.
I get it. I love Magnolia.
Yeah. And then number 4 was The Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank, great pick.
And 5 is Warrior.
Warrior, all right.
Yeah, which I'm a big fan of.
Well, you're holding to your Team Action moniker.
Yeah.
Boogie Nights and Magnolia, they fall on the drama, I guess you could say, but man, those are some good movies.
Warrior's great. Have you seen
I've seen Warrior. Oh yeah, Warrior's great. Gavin O'Connor, Tom Edgerton, and Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton.
Yep.
Haven't seen it in a while, but it's a great movie.
So that's one of the underrated classics in my opinion. It just gets better every time you watch it.
It's a great movie. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and my top 5. It changes daily. I mean, Jaws and E.T. are in there.
Yeah.
The Godfather's in there.
Yeah.
Goodfellas maybe is in there.
That's top 10 for me.
Is that top 10? Yeah. Goodfellas is such a good movie.
Goodfellas amazing.
Oh man, that's my favorite Scorsese.
It's pretty Goodfellas is one of those movies where it doesn't get the respect that The Godfather gets because no movie does really.
Yeah.
But it has enough scenes when you watch it where you're like, wow, this is beyond iconic. Did it? So I was 2 when that movie came out.
Jesus, I'm old. Okay.
Do you remember when The Goodfellas came out? Do you remember feeling like this is going to be an all-time movie right away?
I don't remember it because I was the year.
1990.
1990. See, look at this movie release dates. Okay, we're going to talk about that later. But so 1990 it came out. So I was a freshman in high school. I am very old. This is what I remember of Goodfellas. I don't remember seeing it in theaters.
Yeah.
I do remember Joe Pesci winning the Oscar though.
Yep.
And that's when I realized that this was a movie that was not only is it just a gangster movie, but it's a movie with prestige.
Oh, yeah.
And and I was a huge Oscar guy. I would watch them with my grandmother. I'd watch them with my family. I loved watching the Oscars because maybe you feel this way too. You want to be in this business.
Yeah.
that was your Super Bowl.
Right, that's the biggest. You'd see
the biggest.
all the stars.
All the stars showing up. You see the passionate speeches of like follow your dreams, and you're sitting there watching, going, one fucking day I want to do that.
And there was something about, and it's funny because now we're both in the business for a while now.
Yeah.
So it's the Oscars don't have the prestige in my mind that they once did, because I think maybe just being jaded working around the business, you're sort of like, it's just about who got it that year. It doesn't necessarily mean it was the best.
Right. It can be, you learn about the politics. You can see the politics through there. You can become old and cranky like me and just be like, oh yeah, another win for Damien Chazelle. Yeah, it's totally mean. I don't mean that, of course. The La La Land stuff that happened, and then Moonlight. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it that I think, for me, I still get that twinge of like, here we go.
Yeah.
And then things like popular Oscar category or popular movie category comes in, and you're like, Oscar, bro, what are you doing, man? That's what was your take on that popular film category that then came and went like a fart in church?
Well, it was because views and ratings are down.
Yep.
So they're trying to find a way to make the most watched movies relevant.
Yeah.
It's an offensive category because it's just a way for the antiquated old white people at the top of the academy to not recognize movies that are popular because they don't fit their norms of what their usual movies are.
Right.
And to honor those movies in a way that's sort of like putting them at the kids' table.
It totally is. It's the kids' table. And then I look back at some of the years of nominations in movies. Get Out was nominated last year.
Yeah.
That was a popular film.
Great movie, too.
And the thing that worried me about that popular film category was that would they put Get Out in there and take it away from its rightful place in a Best Picture nomination?
I think the interesting thing about the Academy that you can know, and I think this is probably generation to generation notices the same thing. Yeah. But like I started to notice about 5 to 10 years ago that the Steven Spielberg movies that were being nominated were irrelevant movies.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, like Bridge of Spies and War Horse both were nominated for an obscene number of Oscars, and The Post.
Yeah.
None of those movies are relevant movies to me at all. Never had a conversation about one of those movies.
You know what? It's a great point because those 3 movies in particular are great. They're great movies. You can see the skill. You can see like the acting. It's all there. But they didn't get me. They didn't get me like Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List.
Right.
So you're looking, and I think you're alluding to this, that it was like Spielberg's the guy. We're going to nominate those movies, and we're going to miss some of these great movies that are out there. The Post, unfortunately, I felt was complete Oscar bait. It had the look, it had the sheen, it had all the actors.
Right.
And you're like, and I watched that thing, and I'm like, yeah, it was fine.
Totally.
It was fine. It was a good movie, but I'm missing that oomph with something like a Get Out. Like Get Out, I know is outside the box, but that got me.
It's crazy that since they expanded from 5 nominations, it's almost as if they're stretching to find nominations that fit the norms of the Oscars. And there's so many interesting movies they could nominate. Like, how on earth does The Post get nominated for all these awards, but Logan gets one nomination that it loses? And it's like, that movie is groundbreaking and amazing. It's like everything I want.
You look at it just for the stigma behind a comic book movie. You look at it for a director like Mangold to come in and go, I'm doing an R-rated movie, and I'm going to dissect this character that has been with you for 20 years and has been the face of the X-Men franchise in Hugh Jackman, and we're going to do something completely different. I'm with you. And I'm worried that that popular Oscar thing or that popular film thing would have sure, that maybe Logan would have been nominated then, but it's like, again, you're like, you should have nominated to begin with. And then I go back even further, like Avatar was nominated for Best Picture.
Yep.
And that's a popular film. It's still the highest grossing film of all time. And sorry, I'm not a big Avatar fan. Are you?
It's fine. No, it's probably Cameron's worst movie.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's I don't know. I would say it is Cameron's worst movie. I mean, it was great. There's some great moments. I watched it the other day. It was on, not the other day, maybe in the past 5 months, I'll say. It was on TV.
Yeah.
I sat down. I was watching it. I'm like, not as bad as I remember, but I still remember that going, when I remember it being nominated for Best Picture, then I have this popular film category. I'm like, what gives? You nominated that. Why can't you just assume?
Yeah.
And I feel like that it's all centered around maybe Black Panther, that they're afraid to give that nomination because it's a Marvel film.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a huge blockbuster, but that people are pointing to it going, this is the reason why.
I have an unpopular opinion, and that's that Black Panther was really good. Would never have deserved a Best Picture nomination. And in my opinion, as much as I like that movie, it's not even one of the best 5 Marvel movies.
Really? Okay.
And none of the top 5 Marvel movies, MCU movies, in my opinion, would have deserved a Best Picture nomination, except for maybe if they this year decided to give it to Infinity War because it's such an enormous, epic achievement in filmmaking.
Right.
Maybe.
And you can see that with some of the past Oscar stuff, like giving the Best Picture to Return of the King.
Yes, exactly.
That's because of Two Towers and Fellowship.
Yeah.
Like they do that sometimes. Like I knew Martin Scorsese was going to win for The Departed.
Right.
When Coppola and Lucas and Spielberg all come out. It's like, okay.
Of course.
And I wouldn't call The Departed Scorsese's best picture. You know, I would call it's up there.
Great movie though. Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Don't get me wrong. But when you look at some of his others, like a Goodfellas, career stuff. But that's just my opinion. It might be unpopular. Departed is worthy. It absolutely is. But when you look at his body of work, Taxi Driver to me is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Raging Bull, masterpiece.
Yep.
Goodfellas, masterpiece.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm kind of going with it. But that's enough of the Oscar talk because, you know, maybe we'll have something coming up closer to the Oscars later on down the year on the Reilly Roundtable. But for Ben Bateman, dude, when did you come to L.A.? When was your and where are you from again? And why did you come out here to L.A.? It's probably to be in the business, but I want to hear your story.
Yeah, 2009.
2009.
Almost a decade ago. Actually,
getting up there. Yeah.
Honest answer, 2005.
Okay.
So I grew up in Seattle.
Nice. Okay. Are you a Seahawks fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's my team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I followed Pete Carroll up there.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He was a USC fight on, but, you know, we're not doing too well right now.
We have a tough time right now.
0-2. 0-2.
I grew up with pretty alternative parents. I went to a super alternative high school. My mom's a painter. My dad's a psychologist.
Nice.
I was never I was encouraged to just sort of be myself and chase the career I wanted. So I didn't go to college.
Okay.
I graduated high school when I was 16.
Okay.
And the first time I got a scholarship to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Nice.
So
For acting?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So I moved out here when I was 17 by myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it in this business.
Yeah.
I'm serious. And people have asked me. I went to USC theater school.
Yeah.
Forcing my dad to pay a shit ton of money for me to go do that when I could have just done what you did and come to LA and taken some acting classes and then you're off and running.
So I went to the school for a year. I lived with roommates from the school or whatever. I worked under the table at Meltdown Comics, R.I.P.
Nice. Okay.
For cash under the table. I did that, and then I left after the first year because I didn't want to be I hadn't decided I didn't want to be an actor yet, but I didn't want to be in acting school.
Okay.
So I went back home.
You went back home?
For Nordstrom for a few years.
Okay. Hey, Nordstrom.
I ran like a department or whatever. I learned retail.
I can picture you doing Nordstrom.
Yeah.
Suit, everything.
Exactly.
All right.
Put on a suit for the first time.
Yep. And never took it off, did you?
Yeah. So then I came back out here in 2009 when I was 21.
Okay.
And that was originally when I moved here in 2009. I chased my biggest passion, which was music. So I'm a singer-songwriter, and I had an album out, and I was touring. And
wow.
Yeah, I was
didn't know
doing
that, man. That's
that whole
really
thing.
cool.
Yeah, I used to be in this band called Fight the Moon.
Fight the Moon.
Yeah.
The moon always wins in this case, I think. But
Yeah.
Okay, Fight the Moon. Was it like, what kind of music are we talking here?
Acoustic electro sex pop is what we called it.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Let's cut there. That's the Reilly Roundtable. We're going to go listen to Ben's music now.
It was fun. I thought we were pretty good.
Okay.
We did that for a while. I was composing music for commercials and stuff, and so I did that until I was probably about 23, 24, and then that was sort of the transition point. I went through a big breakup. Tried to figure out what the hell I was doing with my life, and spent a few years bartending, doing stuff, and so it was around the time I was 26, I think, or 27, 26 probably, that I guested on a friend's sports show, Bite Size TV. He needed a guest host, and I had never hosted a day in my life.
Okay.
And it stuck in some way where I was good at it. They brought me back, and we pitched a show. We made a pilot.
It's awesome.
Yeah, called The Gentleman's Club. It was like a
perfect
male living stuff. And
pipe and everything, like maybe a little robe.
Yeah, he had an ascot tie.
Yeah, ascot. There it is.
And from there, the next few years was a hodgepodge of a lot of stuff. Just the show at Popcorn Talk and after shows and red carpets and Schmoedown. And my Magic the Gathering podcast took off.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, hosting is now my thing. So.
And you're good at it, man. And I'm glad to have you on here. That's really cool. I had no idea you're from Seattle. I didn't know when you came down. I kind of knew the backstory of acting. You're still doing acting, right?
No.
No?
No, I quit acting 5 years ago.
Oh, really?
Pretty much no interest.
Yeah, I was a theater major, and when I came out of college, I immediately started waiting tables. That's where I met Christian. But the acting, it's tough.
Where'd you guys work together? Where?
California Pizza Kitchen.
Nice. It's a good one.
Santa Monica. That's where we met. We became pretty fast friends because of our love of movies and everything. And then he kind of did some WWE stuff for a little bit, and then came back, and we would hang out a lot. While I was waiting tables, while I was trying to act, I was getting very tired of the rat race. Like I was doing the acting classes, and I was going on the auditions, and I was like covering shifts to get to those auditions, spending a shit ton of money. And the creativity was just draining out of me. I was like, but I had this thing in me, and then I started writing, and that's where my love fell into, because I went, wait a minute, this is what I want to do. I do like my acting. A lot of people wondered why I didn't continue with acting. I'm like, it's just not for me. My goal and my dream is to sell a screenplay.
Still,
and to
that's what you want to do.
Absolutely, yes. I'm almost done with a screenplay right now, and I have high hopes for that one.
Dude, I got to tell you off mic, because I don't want to share it with the world, but Drew Guy, my teammate, well, not currently, but my buddy.
Well, I understand.
Co-host and I have been talking about for years writing an action movie.
You should.
Because we've been for so long.
You absolutely should.
And I've written treatments before, and I've had like little pieces, bits and pieces, but I came up with this idea the other day, and I'll tell you, did you see the Ryan Fitzpatrick post-game press conference, his outfit?
No. Oh, yes, I did.
He looks like Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
He's got the chains.
Yep.
So I texted Drew a picture, and I said, this is the character that's going to star in our screenplay. We take this image, and we need to create anything we can. And so the character's name is Jackie Fastball.
Jackie Fastball.
And that's the screenplay I'm going to write. It's Jackie Fastball.
It feels like a XXX kind of thing ready to happen. Yeah. That's great. Have you written before?
Like I said,
just the treatments,
bits and pieces, scenes. I did some screenwriting back in community college, like when I was like 19, 20.
Yeah, it's a craft.
Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, I wrote a ton of shitty screenplays before I finally hit one that I was like, this is half bad. So yeah. It's all in the game, man. You got to keep going and keep hoping and dreaming and crossing your fingers, I guess. But yeah, that's me. So you're now out here,
right?
And you're hosting, and you're kicking ass though at Schmoedown, and I will say that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I know you have some L's. I have some L's. Your buddy, who I do want to rematch with, because that was some ring rust.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He degaffed the shit out of you, man.
Yeah, he did, man. Oh, dude, that was just going back in and looking at the lights again. And I was like, oh shit, I'm rusty.
Yeah.
I felt it right when I walked in.
Yeah.
Before you walk into that ring, I'm like, ask me anything, and I was just nailing things. And then I walk in there, I'm like, I don't even know my fucking name right now. But your knowledge of movie release dates is something. But I mean, where do you get your knowledge of these movies? I mean, were you just like me growing up, just watching everything?
It's interesting. So I've talked about this a little bit on our. We have this thing we do, Team Action, called the Team Action Secret Headquarters, and we do these like Patreon videos we do because we have a Patreon, and so after every one of our matches, we do a behind the scenes, everything that you didn't see.
Okay.
And that's kind of where we'll tell our most hateful John Roca stories. Just kidding. No, I mean, I
have a few I could share with you too, I'm sure.
Yeah, we try to be as honest as possible there. And so I've talked about it there, but I have something like an 80% photographic memory.
Okay.
It's not perfect.
Right.
But with 3 repetitions of anything, I have like about an 80% retention level.
Okay.
So and then there's a certain point that it'll reach where I've repeated it enough times that it becomes like a matrix in my mind.
Got it.
That I can track things with.
Yeah.
So a great example with that is like people know of my knowledge of Oscars.
Yeah.
But they also know my knowledge of movie release dates.
Yes.
And there's a relationship there because the map, which is that like I could give you every Best Picture winner from 27 to 17 in like 10 minutes. Like I could just rattle it off.
Right.
So because I know that so well, it means that I can place things very well. Like I remember what actor was in what movie in what year, which gives me a better frame of reference for like They ask a multiple choice question like, well, they hadn't done that yet. They had just done this. They won the Oscar in this year, so they weren't as prominent then. This movie was a bigger release. Probably that's why.
That's a skill. And that's something, yeah, I remember sitting at my grandmother's house for some reason, and a movie started, and there was snow, and I saw one of the actors' name. I won't remember the movie, but there's something I'm like, oh, this, hadn't seen the movie. I'm like, oh, it's this movie.
Right.
And then the title card comes up, and it was the movie, and my sister looks at me and goes, how did you know that? And I go, trailer.
Yeah, right.
Like, there was something about that. For me, I would retain something like, I have to see the movie, and then I can retain it pretty well. There was something about the retention that whether it was watching the Oscars, watching the movies, or something. In my old age now, it's a little tougher there, but it's still happening. And where you're just thinking about these movies, you're thinking about the time frames, you're thinking about all these things. Some reason it just sticks with me.
Yeah, the crazy thing that gets me about Schmoedown and memory stuff is the understanding your memory and how it works, because the difference between what people know and how they access what they know is everything in Schmoedown.
It is, absolutely.
It's like I used to wait tables as well for a long time, and I remember noticing sometimes I'd sit there, I took every order in my head, right? So I could take a table of 8 or something like that.
Right.
And I would notice, I'd go through the order, and that thing happens where you're like, oh, what did they get? And you're looking at the screen to punch it in or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what did they get? What did they get? And you can tell, were you listening or not? Because if you see it on the screen, it triggers that you know it.
Yes.
But if you see it on the screen, it doesn't, then you weren't listening.
Right.
Right? So it's like, that's how you can sort of start to figure out what's in there and what's not.
Yeah.
And what always blows my mind is when you do the random guess on an answer, and it's the right random guess.
Yes.
So somehow you knew, because there's no such thing as actually winning on a random guess in Schmoedown.
Except for Josh McCouga.
Yeah. Somehow. But
Somehow.
it's in there for him somehow.
Yeah. I remember with waiting tables, I finally got to a point where I wouldn't even need to write it down.
Right.
I would just be like, okay. And it would just stick with me because you've been doing it a while. So it would stick with you.
Yeah, right.
And that's, I think, what's happening with Schmoedown, which why don't we let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's get into the Schmoedown
You
talk
got it,
because
man.
you brought it up, but there is what am I trying to say here? There's a skill to it. There's an absolute skill to it. And I think you referenced something about the guesses.
Yeah.
And that there's some competitors that are like, I saw that, and it's like, I don't know, Red Dawn.
Right.
Sorry, incorrect. It's like, Point Break. That's it. It's like there are competitors like that. Maybe they don't care that much. I'm not going to assume. Maybe they just, they're having fun. Then there are competitors I'm going to clump myself in with, and that you can go, okay, that was this year, or this actor, and you use that time, and then you use that JTE rule, repeat the question. Because one of my best pulls was when I took the belt back from Roca.
Yeah.
And that was like, who was in Shark Tale and King Kong. And I had to stop for a while.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, God. Okay, so Shark Tale had...
I wonder if I know the answer.
It had Will Smith.
Yeah, right.
It had Martin Scorsese doing a voice. Was it Naomi? So I'm going in the voices in my head, and I'm like, who's in that? Who was in that? And then who was in King Kong? And I'm like,
Jack Black, right?
Jack Black.
Yeah,
that was I had to get there though. It took me 2 repeats because I was like, Naomi Watts, no. Adrian Brody, no. I don't think so. Who else is in that movie? Like Kyle Chandler? No, he wasn't in that.
Right.
Who else was in that movie? Jack Black. Was Jack Black in it? I think he was in Shark Tale.
Yeah.
I think it's let's go for it. Shark Tale or Jack Black, and there it was.
Yeah.
And I won got the question. It is a skill. So, but I've noticed with you have, and we're not going to share secrets for Schmoedown because that'd be giving away things that we want to keep close to the vest. But I've noticed you have strategy.
Yes,
you have
definitely.
You have strategy. Do you study?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot. Enough.
It's been a year and a half I've played Schmoedown now.
Okay.
About 18 months.
Yeah.
I watched it for the 6 months prior pretty religiously.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan. I always tell when I'm on fans shows and stuff.
Yeah.
I always tell them it's really lucky Christian let me compete because I would just straight up be one of these people that shows up to the studio. I would become my own cosplayer.
Right.
Like I just love it so much that I think I would just be an obsessive fan.
Rightly so, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, there are fans that have competed, and there are fans that might stick around a lot longer because they know their shit.
So I think, my strategy has changed.
Mm-hmm.
If Schmoedown had the ecosystem in place, and it will, I think, at some point, but if it had one in place that meant you could make a living off of it, a proper one, then I think the study habits that I would have employed would have probably unified by now.
Yeah.
But the emotional roller coaster that is the prep for a match, the win, the loss, the you win and then what did I win? And all of it means that the most I've ever prepped for a match ever. I had 2 matches that I prepped for hardest.
Okay.
One of them was the above the line final at last year's tournament.
Yes.
Which we lost.
Yeah.
The other was my 1-on-1 match against John Roca. Which I lost.
You're mentioning something here. To get back into fighting shape, I did the most studying I've ever done in the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
And I lost a guy.
Yeah.
And the least that I study.
Yeah.
And I did this too. My triple match when I was defending the belt again against Roca and Merle, I studied.
Yeah.
I was out.
Yep.
When I don't study, I don't know. I do better. I'll just say that. But the studying does help. It'll always help.
I'll tell you, in my singles matches, this is you're getting to something here, which is I hate to say that overstudying makes people lose because I don't think that that's the case.
No, yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with just having facts. You need those facts.
But there's something about when you walk in, how tight butthole you are to a match.
Yeah.
And against Draco, which was the other. I've had 2 real losses in singles. My Inman loss was in the 5-way, which was the beginning, and that was
That was yeah.
He played well, but I mean, he got a Lord of the Rings question as his 5. It was just a little bit one of those it didn't break my favor.
Right.
And I could have answered. There was 2 questions in the match that I could have gotten.
It was Inner Geekdom, right?
No, it was regular.
Oh, it was regular. Okay.
But I didn't, and I don't hold that one because that is what it is. This is my first one, and I had literally just played the Trek match, so I went back to back.
Right.
But the 2 losses, Draco and Roca. The Roca match, I just didn't have it. He got an easier 5 than I did.
I would agree. He had an easier 5-pointer, which was
who were the 2 lead actors in My Own Private Idaho?
My Own Private Idaho. Yeah, you could look at the box. Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix.
Yep.
Yeah.
But my match against Draco, there's a thing that happened to me in the second round where I had studied. You asked if I study. I watched before the Draco match every single question that Draco has ever answered. I watched. I'm not exaggerating.
That's fantastic.
Literally.
Okay.
I kept them in 3 categories: his gets, his misses, and his curious gets and misses. The ones where I'd be like, "How does he know that?
Okay.
Why doesn't he know that?"
Okay.
To try to get a strategy.
Okay.
And in the end, when I got Spinner's Choice, I took action adventure instead of Oscars.
Okay.
And I did it because I had seen Draco time and time again miss big action and adventure pictures.
Right.
Not know stuff that seems obvious to me because something about those movies doesn't appeal to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that him not being able to steal would have been an advantage.
Yeah.
So already I'm way strategy. I'm way psyched out, right? And I missed 2 questions in that match, in that round, right?
Okay.
One of them was, what is Samuel L. Jackson's character's name in Die Hard with a Vengeance?
Zeus.
Yes. So I, for some reason, couldn't get there right away.
Okay.
And counted down, and then said Jules, which is obviously Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, right.
Again, had I gone to multiple choice, easy get.
Yeah.
Shoots lightning bolts out of his ass. I know the line.
Right.
They asked me who is the mission leader at NASA in Armageddon.
Ed Harris?
No, it's Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, that's right.
And I said William Finchner.
Oh, right.
So in both cases, had I gone to multiple choice, I get the point.
Yeah.
There's a 2-point steal there that favors him greatly going into the 3rd round.
Right.
But there was just something about where I was as a player in that moment that I didn't play the game as well as I could have.
Right.
And that's where the strategy is everything.
Absolutely.
You go back and you're like, if I had played that correctly, I at least put myself in position to win there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The strategy, I played it so incorrectly against my match with Guy by choosing scores and soundtracks.
Yeah.
And being so overconfident with that one in particular.
Yeah.
Because
you got brutal ones in that match.
They were so brutal. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I can probably guess the composer if I get the year, if I get the director. And these were they're all just bleeding in together, the ring rust, all that stuff. I'll never do that again.
Right.
The Thing killed me because it's Ennio Morricone. Yeah. And I knew that.
Yeah.
But when I got the first question, I can't remember what it was, and I had to go to multiple choice. I was like, oh shit, this is not like who scored Braveheart.
You got like Troy.
It was movies that were so lesser known movies. Like you give me a Star Wars, well, obviously it's John Williams.
Yeah, right.
Give me Rogue One, I'll know who scored that. Give me Solo, I know who scored that.
Right.
There's like certain movies that I can do that are popular movies. But when you give me the lesser known movies like Troy that I saw once, I'm like, now we're screwed.
It's a bad movie.
But, I get that feeling. So let's talk a little bit about, because we're both competitors. I'm leading up to this.
Yeah.
Where we get into the meat of our pair up here. The losing and the winning.
Yeah.
And what it does here. And I know that I've seen it every once in a while in those Schmoedown forums, like, our match is fixed.
Yeah,
it's not something that's overly talked about.
No,
because the fans get it.
Right.
Because they're not fixed in the least. I mean, the storylines happen based off of the wins and losses. I mean, that's just how it has always been. But there's a certain thing where I noticed, and just recently, I don't know why it took me 3 years when I was the first champion in this thing. I'm like, this is a sport. Oh. It's such a sport now.
Such a sport.
And
So maybe my favorite part about the whole thing is how much of a sports league it does resemble.
It totally resembles a sport league. Like everybody comes in competitors, they size each other up. Yeah. They're looking at you, and when you lose, like if you're a competitor, and there are certain people out there, again, I kind of referenced when they're like, oh, what's that question? Oh, and they make a joke and whatever it may be. I'm over there going, oh, you got to get that question. Like you're trying to figure it out in your head because I'm so competitive. Like, it is a thing. So when there's a loss, I fucking hate it.
Oh,
what does it do to you?
You're
especially when you're with Guy. I love the guy. He's such a great character
you wanted
in the
to
Schmoedown.
Kill him.
I wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
I wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you son of a bitch.
When I lost
shit.
to Draco, it was really brutal because I had really hyped up in my mind. I knew I was going to win, and I knew Draco was good, and I knew and those questions I missed that I mentioned, like it's really hard when you go through the numbers and you're just like, there's a way I could have gotten there. Mm-hmm. There was a path in this match and I didn't take it.
Yeah.
When I lost to Roka, it's the hardest loss I've ever taken. You mentioned it being a sports league.
Yeah.
And the layers of the onion that get peeled back when you play against someone multiple times.
Yeah.
Roka was the first person when I got into the league that I rallied behind as a character because there's just something about how seriously he took it.
Oh yeah.
Even when he crosses the line, which he does a lot.
No. Yeah.
Even he gets so serious. But I remember his second match with Mance. He made a dedication to his father, and which obviously props to you because you do what works for you. And if I was him, I probably would have done the same thing. You know, the most important person in the world to him. But I remember it caught me off guard when I watched it because I was like, "Whoa, this is the Schmoedown."
Oh yeah,
we're bringing in real shit to the Schmoedown. And so I really got behind Roka. I just remember being like, "This is my guy."
Yeah.
And as I started playing, we finally got to play them in that first top 10 action match. That was the first time we ever got that matchup.
And you guys beat him.
Yeah, that was the one where Iceman was there.
Yeah.
It was the shit talk was just on another level.
It was the tackle.
Right? That's the next one.
Oh, that was the next
one.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The one we won, that was a hugely satisfying win for us. Top of the world.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we play them again and we lose, and that's the tackle. We have a bad game.
Yep.
Then at the free-for-all, I eliminate Roka, and
there
I
it
have
is.
to buy Roka. At that moment.
Yep.
And we're leading up now. Drew is going to have to play him.
Yep.
Obviously the horseman stuff, and me losing to Roka. So my point was when you ask about those losses, all of that goes into it.
Yeah.
And so when you do lose, you walk backstage and you have that deep breath moment.
You're like, now I got to do the fucking interview.
And you're looking at the wall.
Yeah, I got to do that interview now.
And you're like, this is going to air, and the fans, and you're just like, God, this was my chance.
And you think about the fans. Yep.
This was my chance, and he's going to play it cool because that's how he is, and he's going to be really nice to you, but he's just sitting there fist pumping. He's so happy that he beat. And it kills me. Not every loss, but certain losses just destroy me.
Yeah, I've only lost to 3 people now.
Yeah.
I mean, teams are another story. 3 people. It was Merle and Roka.
Yeah.
Those are the only guys I lost to ever. And then, Guy, worst match. That's the one that hurt. One, because I wasn't ready. I
Yeah.
needed some ring rust.
Yeah.
I need to get rid of the ring rust, but there's only one way to get rid of that ring rust.
Yeah.
And that's to go in the ring.
Did you how long does it stick with you in your mood? Like when you lose, like that night, how were you?
That night I was pissed. That night I was
Julie had to
pissed.
like really
Julie
calm you down.
Well, here's the thing though. I was pissed when I lost the belt to Merle
Yeah.
for the first time, and it stuck with me. And I was like, and it stuck with me, and I was in a bad mood. It happened again with Roca when I didn't get through him to get a number one title match again.
Yeah.
But then I made it up to him again, and then ultimately won again and won the belt back. But the guy one was interesting because walking in, I went, there are two things that are going to happen here. I'm going to win or I'm going to lose.
Yeah, right.
So if I win, great. I'm going to let the Schmoedown gods take me wherever they want to take me.
Yeah.
If I lose, I'm going to have to accept it. I'm going to have to be okay with it. I would be in the company of Merle.
Right.
I would, it's just going to happen. So I remember calling Julie and telling her about it. And I'm like, yeah. And I was telling her all about it. And she went, you seem fine.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, I have a lot more to worry about right now, with the shows and work and all this stuff. I can't be doing this, but it's still burned.
You hedge emotionally at a certain point.
Yeah.
Once you've lost a couple times because you have to.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it hurt or sting any less when it posts ultimately.
Yeah.
When you get back into it, when you and ultimately the thing that's so great about Schmoedown is that, as I mentioned, it feels such like a sports league because Roca at this point is my Red Sox.
Yes.
That's how he feels to me, or he's my Yankees, or whatever, whichever side you want to be on. He's
right.
he is my at some point I'm gonna beat that old bastard.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be so satisfying, and I'm gonna walk with a belt. But until it happens, when I see his name on the schedule, it's that's my grudge match.
It's funny how Roca has done this in the Schmoedown because that was mine.
Yeah.
That was mine. So when it became this part 3,
Right.
And it's for the belt, and I won it. Yeah. I was like, "Oh my god!" That was my greatest Schmoedown victory for me because you get the belt back and all that kind of stuff.
And I think what's so great about Schmoedown, and this sort of was my point, is that because it's such a great product and it's run so well, we all buy in. And when we buy in, it's what makes the losses hurt the most. It's what makes the wins so sweet.
Exactly.
You follow it. You love it. You want to be champion. You want the story. They're silly storylines, but we all buy in. We all love them.
We all do, and it's like clockwork. Everybody shows up. They're not competing that day, but they're there to watch. They're there to size up the competitor. And let's say the L happens. You walk out. Oh, that was some hard questions. I didn't know that either. You'll get them next time. That kind of stuff. Right. You feel the league coming to your aid.
Right.
Same with a W. Awesome. Oh my God. We're playing next, huh? And there's this size up thing, but it's so this community, everybody in the league, we've become close. I would say everybody's pretty close, and it's fun to see that happen. It's fun to play with the stories that do happen. So. Speaking of stories, I'm going to ask you point blank.
Yeah.
Did you steal Cal?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I think we should bring Cal in for an entrance someday.
As a character, yeah.
As a character. Cal walks in with us just to show that there's...
Yeah.
Because here we are. We get paired up.
Yeah.
Now, when I got the word that I was getting paired up with you, I was like, that's good.
Yeah, that's how I felt too.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because I see your... competition. I see what you're talking about. Movie release dates, I'm decent, but I'm not great. So I'm circling that going, that's one of our strengths.
Yep.
We've talked about some of the things that were good, like horror is good for me.
You've got your skill set is, I've talked about this on our show, is very complementary to mine. I mean, there's the things I know, and I think there's a lot of those categories that I think you're strong in, but I know there are categories you have that are particularly dicey for me. I've really improved in animated. You were already great in it. Horror is great for you.
Animation is pretty damn good. New releases, I feel I could kick ass at. 80s is great. Star Wars will always be good for me.
80s is a good one. I need help on that.
80s is great. We can talk about that. So as we're burying the hatchet right now.
Yeah.
I get you as my partner, and I'm like, holy shit, we could actually do this.
Yeah, I think we could make a run. We can get the whole thing.
We can get the whole thing, absolutely. Yeah. But there are some tough teams out there.
Definitely.
Now, our first match is Haley Fouch and Eric Zipper.
Right.
I forget their team name. Do you remember their team name?
Something, isn't it a Kill Bill reference maybe?
I think so.
Crazy 80 Greats?
Something.
Is that what they're called?
I think so. I'm not overlooking them in the least.
You can't overlook anybody.
Haley, who I work with, is good.
Yep.
She knows her shit.
Yep.
And so I'm looking at that one as like, one, get the ring rust out of there. I'm not really worried about it. The ring rust is gone.
Yeah.
I lost a guy. That's it. It's over. Put that aside. You don't have any ring rust. You've been competing the past year.
I mean,
do you still get it though? Do you still walk into the Schmoedown and you look at the lights and you look at the people? Do you get any kind of butterflies, or you walk in, you're locked in, you're dialed in?
Depends on the match.
Depends on the match, yeah.
Live event.
Oh,
hands were shaking a little.
Oh, yeah.
Just before we walked out there.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I want to do it. I can do it
to hype everybody up when we went out there for our promo.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, my right hand was shaking a little bit.
Yeah.
We got excited, obviously, and I don't think we'll ever have a greater entrance than we had in that event with the white jacket and the flashing glasses.
It was pretty damn good.
It was outrageous.
The thing I give you guys so much credit for is that you guys are good at trivia, right? But you've taken the game to the next level.
Right, yeah.
You really have. I mean, I think some of the best stuff, storyline or it's entrance-wise, was always with my partner, Clark Wolf.
Yeah, you guys, yeah.
Like, we would just do, like, horror-themed stuff, have fun with it. And then me, too, I did, when I was doing the first run, at the old studios at AfterBuzz, where it started.
Yeah, right.
I did elaborate openings. I did How to Train Your Dragon, come in with Cal with wings on him.
I've even watched all of those matches.
Did you really?
Watched every single match.
What'd you think of the evolution from those matches to now? Better, right?
Oh, so different. I mean, it's
so different.
It's it's truly like such a sport, and like this is the thing that gets me, like, when I think about the difference between then and now. Mm-hmm. You're a football fan.
Yeah.
Remember when Tony Romo fumbled that snap in 2006 against the Hawks?
Oh yeah. Everybody blame Jessica Simpson.
Right. And he got shit about it for his whole career.
Right.
Moments like that, Favre thrown across his body in that game against the Saints in the Super Bowl in 2009.
Peyton Manning against the Seahawks gets that fumble too into the end zone. And boom. It's like they're screwed the rest of the game.
These moments that happen, these inexplicable, embarrassing moments, they happen in Schmoedown too. Like me saying Giancarlo Stanton instead of Giancarlo Esposito, and no less doing it in front of 400 people.
Oh yeah.
Or Roca, the Jane Fonda mistake. These things
Sandlot.
happen. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, what happened?
I was it was the title match with Roca, and we're doing the buzzers, and they start throwing names. Name the movie off of these characters, and they're like Sydney, like Ghostface, like they listed off Gale, like Dewey, all these names that I know. I've watched Scream hundreds of times.
Yeah.
I'm a horror guy. And I blinked. And then I start hearing the crowd. Oh.
Yeah.
And I heard Ghostface.
Yeah.
And for some reason, my mind went to the frickin' dog in Sandlot. And I go, it must be Sandlot. And it was the worst. I didn't hear the
end of it.
If I didn't win that match,
right.
I think I would have crawled into a shell and been a hermit and just lived in the ocean the rest of my life. Because I was like it was maddening.
Oh, and the fans, the Twitter and the Facebook, they just
You, what do you think of the fans? Do you? I mean, we embrace the storylines.
Yeah.
They are extensions of our personality. We go a little, we hit the gas a little bit more sometimes.
Right.
Pump the brakes maybe a little bit more. I love the storylines. As a producer in Collider, I want the league to be successful. So sometimes I'll take myself out of things because I think there are better storylines out there.
Sure.
That's not all the time. That's not take myself. I don't have the say of that. Meaning I just take my mind out of it, I guess. And just really look at it from a producer standpoint. This is great. Like, this is great right here. And you guys, action. I mean, like, when I lost a guy, I was pissed, but I was like, this is great.
It's a great story.
Roca and Guy. That's a great story.
Yeah, we have right now. I mean, this season's been the best season by a pretty wide margin, I'd say. I mean, there's definitely stuff in every season, but that particular storyline that came out of nowhere, was amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I had Christian already. Like, Christian's so funny because he's talking the different storylines always, and he's got it all figured out and dialed in. And so he was like, before my match with Guy, Roca Reilly, par 4, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. But then, the match happened. And I'm like, Roca Guy is such a better than Roca Reilly because, one, we're horsemen together. We're in the stable. We're friends. We're on the same team now.
Yeah.
It would just be a little bit like, hey, doing our match, and whoever wins, wins. With Roca and Guy, that's where the story is.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It's great. I agree. I think the question of the fans, fans are pretty amazing.
So that's the long answer to they're amazing, but tell me some of your experiences.
Well, I mean, so it's interesting. I do a few different things in my career that have decent sized fan bases. I'm a Magic the Gathering professional. I have a podcast, a YouTube channel about it, and
Ellis is a guy.
Yeah,
right? You got to get him. You got to get him on.
And I get. If I go to like a convention or an event, I'll take a couple dozen pictures and sign 40, 50 autographs or something like that. So if I go to one.
Isn't it crazy?
It's crazy. Yeah. It's amazing. And I would say at the Schmoedown events, something similar happens. But the difference between I have to go to an event and people will be excited versus I've been stopped in airports, on airplanes, at conventions by Schmoedown fans now because I travel a lot for my other job.
Yeah.
And when they meet me, it's they don't say, "Hey, Ben Bateman." They'll be like, "The boss."
Yeah,
you're the boss. Yeah. And it's wow, this is a television show. We created these characters, and now people love them. They get excited about them in a way that makes me feel like all the work we do, on the whole, the fans are terrific. There's trolls everywhere.
Sure,
but the great ones are so great.
I'd much rather get trolled by a Schmoedown fan than somebody that's calling me a Disney shill because I like The Last Jedi.
Yeah, right.
Those guys come in hotter than the Schmoedown fans do.
Yeah, very hateful.
But I've gotten that too. I've gotten I was picking up a bottle of wine for a dinner we were doing on a weekend. And I was at Ralph's, and it was just I had to swing by really fast.
Yeah, right.
And I'm leaning down, and I'm looking at the wine, and I'm like, that looks decent. I like that region. I hear, Yodi?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, shit. Hey. And he's like, what's up, dude? And he was so excited.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, he was wearing a Schmoedown shirt.
Yeah.
He was wearing and I'm like, this is hysterical. He's like, this is awesome. Could I get a picture? And people are walking by me in the aisle trying to get by the wine to get their own wine.
Yeah.
And they're like, who's this schlub?
Yeah, who's this guy,
Me.
right? Yeah, yep.
And this guy, and he was so complimentary. I was like, that's really cool. I've had it where even walking around here, Yodi, and it was before my match with somebody, and they were like, I hope you get it. And I'm like, thanks, dude. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Well, because I think that's where you see the reflection of it being a sport more than anything.
Yes.
It's not just being a YouTuber or a content creator, because you get recognized, people like you for that stuff, but it's very passively they'll listen to a podcast, so then they like you. This is you go out there, the theatrics, the smack talk, all of it. You have all this bravado, so people see it and they're excited. They want to. It's like meeting an athlete to them.
Yeah, and I try to tell a lot of the competitors that might take it a little personally because believe me, I've taken it personally too. I think I yelled at somebody on the Facebook page after I got the belt back from Roca. I was like, all right, I did that. Everybody's going to love me now. And now, what is this? Fuck you, Reilly. You know what? You son of a bitch. Fuck you.
I don't need this shit.
And I think somebody, one of the admins on Facebook was like, ooh, Reilly's having a bad day. I'm going to have to delete that one right there. And I was like, because I went back in going, I should probably delete that. I got a little pissed. I was a little hot.
That's you and Guy, man. He goes heavy. He gets so invested, and he'll be like, I don't have time for this. I don't need this. And then I'll see, and he's responded to every Facebook comment. Yeah,
it's tough because one, you have that competition in you.
Yeah,
you're a competitor. You want to win. I hate losing. And then you want to play the game. And
right.
You want to I love the game. I love the trivia. I love interacting with the fans and talking to them and asking or answering the questions, or vice versa. It can get there, but that's by design.
Have you ever thought about what would be the number one question you'd ever want to win a match on?
Yes.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Who directed Funny Farm?
What is Funny Farm?
You did Chevy Chase?
I've heard of it, okay.
Okay, this is only because, and this is a recent thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love a Jaws question.
Sure.
Give me whose head do they find in the hull of the boat in Jaws?
Sure.
Ben Gardner.
Okay.
That's a 5-pointer, I would think. Did you know that? You got.
I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to get that. Yeah.
Don't give me the what's the name of the boat?
Yeah.
That's
sure.
Orca. I remember Jeff Snyder I could have killed him.
Yeah.
I was off. It's like, what's the name of the island in Jaws?
I thought it was Oh no, it was the island.
Yeah. And he said Martha's Vineyard. It's like Amity.
Yeah.
Amity. So
that's funny. I watched Jaws maybe 6 months ago, and I think I would have missed almost every one of the questions you just asked me.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, Jaws, I've got damn.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Jaws. If we get a Jaws question, I'll take it. But I was doing and it was for my match with Guy.
Yeah.
Just studying some trivia, just brushing myself up, watching old matches, trying to get into space again because it is a sport. It is like riding a bike sometimes, but then you got to take that bike and go down a dirt hill where there are jumps. You got to get in that ring rust. So I was looking at some questions, and Funny Farm comes up. And I went, Chevy Chase, one of my favorite Chevy Chase movies. It's awful. It's not his best. But it's funny. It makes me laugh. And I look at the director and I go, he directed that? George Roy Hill.
Directed Funny Farm.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That's the reason I've heard of it.
Yes.
It's because literally, so Paul Newman is my favorite actor of all time.
There you go. You're referencing Sundance and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah.
And The Sting.
So the other day I was looking up George Roy Hill to be like, what else did he do in his career? Because he had a pretty small career on the whole in terms of his big movies.
Yeah.
Those two are the biggest, I think. And then, but I must have seen it on the list.
It's crazy. So I'm pulling it up right now. Hey, we're getting some, his last movie was Funny Farm, 1988.
Yeah, okay.
And then The Little Drummer Girl, The World According to Garp, Slapshot,
yeah,
The Sting,
that's the other best.
Slaughterhouse-Five, Butch Cassidy. Yeah, some good ones. But I saw George Roy Hill, and I was like, now that's a deep cut.
Yeah.
That's one that I'll always remember. I would love to get that for a winning match on a 5-pointer.
That's good.
And just be like, Funny Farm. Nobody will get that. And I say it, and everybody goes, what?
Yeah.
So what would yours be?
Well, I have a funny one that I've always wanted to get asked.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the one I've thought about the most is just because we have this running joke on AMA, Drew and I, that I've only seen the first 45 minutes of Les Mis, but I've seen it like 50 times.
Yeah.
And I love the first 45 minutes.
Okay.
All the songs, just obsessed. And I know you love that. I love it, yeah.
Yeah, I love Les Mis. I figured that out too. You came in, I think you were singing, or maybe I was. I don't know. It's like, you're hey, all right.
And so I would love for the question to be, in Les Mis, what is Jean Valjean's prisoner number? And I would love to be able to answer it
and sing it.
24601.
Yep.
That would be
do the last one. 24601.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could do that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So as we wrap it up here on episode 15, let's talk strategy.
Yeah.
We got the Schmoedown happening. Where who's the boss? Which a lot of people love that name.
Good team name.
It's a good team name.
Yeah.
It's
yours. You came up with that one.
I can't. We were coming. What were some of the ones we were talking about?
I think the closest we got, and like a fan had suggested, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, because our
Good, the Bad,
manager
and the
is,
Ugly.
Dagnino.
Yep.
And I think that's a pretty good name. I had suggested maybe as a funny troll moment to name our team One Day More as a Les Mis reference.
Oh yeah, One Day More.
But,
that's a good one. We had Action Comics.
Yeah,
because
Action
of my
Comics.
Superman thing, and Action Comics. Number one. That could have worked. The Good, Bad, the Ugly I was into. I think Christian wanted to stay away from the Western kind of connotation for it.
Right.
It was Who's the Boss? I was in the shower. I was just like, hey, that's kind of funny.
I think it's really good.
So it works.
Makes me feel like we're like Who's the Boss? Makes me feel like our team is like 2 men and a baby or something.
Yeah, it is. We could have done 2 Men and a Baby.
Yeah.
That would have been funny. But strategy-wise, we've already had some strategy. I'm gonna pull back the veil a little bit.
Yeah.
We've done some. We're texting a lot now.
Yeah.
And we're like throwing questions at each other. The other night, rightly so, you're like, got a match, got to prepare. You want to throw some questions at me?
Yeah.
And I was cooking dinner for my fiance, and I'm like, I got 5 minutes, and I start throwing questions at you.
Yeah,
That's how we're getting ready. But strategy-wise, so with Haley and Eric,
Yeah.
we got to just go in and answer the questions in front of us, right?
Well, yeah, because I think like there's a couple phases of the game that are important. And,
Yeah.
and they're newer, both of them.
Let's break it down for a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're. Zip's got probably. I think he's been in maybe 2 or 3 regular matches.
Yep.
Maybe 2 Intergeekdom.
2 Intergeekdoms, yeah, and he's a comic book guy.
Right, and then Fouch I think has maybe played twice.
Yeah, I think she's played 2 or 3 times.
So
she's played the
total-
free for all.
That's like seven matches worth of experience. 8,
Yeah.
and I think probably between the two of us, we're looking closer to like 30 to 40 matches worth. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean my record now is 9-5 singles
plus teams.
and then plus teams. You got to add another
12 matches
I think
or something.
at least 12 matches with my time with Clark. So yeah, you add that all up.
I think Drew and I probably together have played a dozen or more team matches, and I've probably played 5 or 6. Yeah, we're probably really in that 40 to 50 match range.
Absolutely. So with Haley and Eric, what are you thinking?
I think there's a couple things that they're not going to be prepared for me being an asshole.
That's correct.
Because I'm a pretty nice guy in person.
Yeah.
Drew is a really nice guy, but his heelness is a lot more natural for him.
Yeah.
He just sort of turns it on, and it seems like who he is. When he turns it on, you're sort of like, I can't believe he's not that way.
Yeah, man.
And then sometimes he'll be drunk, and you'll be like, he a little bit is that way.
Yeah.
You know. Not like a jerk, but with me, when I decide to be a jerk, it's almost like worse because I'm like intentionally just being mean because it's not in my nature.
But this is great. This is where we're going to use this to our advantage.
So I think that's the first thing is keep in mind, like, I'm going to go at them and I will say a lot of shit. I will definitely try to get them off their game.
Do it.
And I'm the heel, and you're so like probably we'll have to. What are you going to do? Are you going to be?
I'll smooth it out.
Okay.
You do your thing.
Yeah.
I'll do mine, which is answering questions, just like you. You're going to answer your questions. I'm going to answer my questions. But I think it'd be good if you go at them hard.
Yeah.
And then I kind of try to smooth it down. They don't know how to take us there.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Right.
And then if I can, I'll be able to answer some questions that are going to scare them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If I can get back to I have a pretty good first round percentage.
Yeah.
I've never really gone under, again, ring rust with Guy. I think I only answered 3, which is like,
I think that's right. Yeah.
Which is sucks for me.
Yeah.
When normally I would never answer under 6. I'm usually around 7.
Yeah.
I've had one perfect round and the bonus question. So if I can get into the 7 question range, I think that'll scare them.
My all-time percentage in round 1 is like 6.3 or something.
Yeah, I'm sure if you average it, probably mine too.
And you knock off my first few matches where I had like bad first 3 the first 3 matches I ever played. I'm closer to 7, so we should be able to take them in round 1 pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know, the question of if we're winning, who spins? I usually like to spin second. I think it's a better advantage.
Okay, spinning second. Why do you say that?
Because
I always go first, so this is something we could get to.
Well, Levine's talked about this a lot, right? So, like, he famously, we were the ones who started it, and then he won a belt, so like he got all the credit when he talked about it. But we like really felt that it gives you such a better place because playing reactively, you can make decisions with much more clarity. Like, should you or shouldn't you gamble on the answer you're unsure of instead of going to multiple choice to avoid a 2-point steal?
Right.
Should you or shouldn't you? Right. Like, there's. When should you use your JTEs? How quickly should you burn them? What's the difference? How many points do you need to make up? Like shit like that. Like,
yeah, that's not bad.
You know,
I get that.
I figured out at one point based on in a team match the number of questions that you have to answer on your own, not shared, but like ones where a JTE rule might buy you time to actually get there.
Yeah.
Basically, the value of a JTE rule in a team match is just over a point. So like, you know, like what like. Stuff like that. I think having more information helps you negotiate those values and where to place them. And so that's why I would always, if I can, go second.
Go second. All right. I think you convinced me. I think that's a good strategy. I think we can do that. I mean, sometimes we might, depending on the first round, we might not have that choice, but it's a good thing to go to. I think if you go in hot and you play your character during the match, the whole match, I think we're good. As far as the repeats, I usually keep them for the end in case we need it, but never had to use all 3.
Yeah.
Maybe I have. I can't remember. Maybe I did, actually, in Guy's match. I might have. But anyways, we can get to that. That I'm not too worried about.
Yeah.
Because when you're thinking about the first round, if you have to use it in the first round, you better have a good reason.
Well, again, if you think about your JTE rules with a point value, this is like where Guy and I in the beginning were a little more like that. We took lead from all you guys, obviously. Like that was how we started playing. The more we played, the more it was sort of like if you can assign a point value of between 0.8 and 1.2 to a JTE, like depending on teams or singles, that means that if you don't use them, if you just don't ever use them for some reason, or you leave one of them on the table, you're burning points effectively. Like you're burning potential points.
Yeah.
So I am of the mind, burn them early if need be. If you think if it'll buy you a point, just use it. Like
there it is.
And if you try and it doesn't buy you the point, so be it. It's so rare you actually need them.
It's very true, and I hold to that as well because I'd only use it if I needed it. Because normally I'll hear it. I get dialed in. You know, when the match starts, I'm pretty quiet. I just want to go.
Right.
So when we come to the last round, I mean, well, we're going to pick up our strengths, and you'll see that. We'll save that for the match. But the 2, the 3, the 5. What are your thoughts there? Is it when you hear that first 2-pointer and you get the genre, if it's something like maybe I'm having a bad game, maybe you're having a bad game, do we want to grab that 2-pointer if we're having a bad game because of the low point value compared to the others?
You know, I think the way we have to do that there is A, you read the room, like who's playing hot that day.
Yep.
B, the category. If it's a generic category, like let's just say it's a generic, it's a drama, it's a comedy, it's a category that most people know enough about. At that point, you just go with whoever's hot.
Yeah.
If it's a specific category, like something I'm bad at or you're bad at,
right?
Obvious. It's an obvious answer.
Like if I were to get like your category 2-point question in the genre of horror.
Yeah,
I'm taking that.
No question.
Great. And if it's movie release dates, you're taking that.
Yep.
Okay, got it. I think that's good. I mean, you know what? I love the fact that you take it as serious as you do.
I love it.
Because I do inside here, I take it as serious. But you know, my characters, I like to play trivia. I like to win.
Yeah.
And the fact that I felt like Donald Trump there.
Yeah.
I like to win, okay? And that's what I'm looking forward to. So I think we got a good shot here, brother.
I think if we focus and we really put it together, we can take this whole thing. The second round of our bracket is a little harder.
Because if we get past Haley and Zip, who are you up against?
I think
it's
has the bracket's posted, right?
Yeah, the bracket's posted.
So I think if we get past round 1, then we would have to play against.
I know it's Nost Bibiani. Because
they're on the other side.
No, they're on our.
Oh, they're on our side.
Yeah.
So okay.
And they're playing.
What, like Atchity or something, or Irwin?
Is it Atchity? Oh, ooh.
Is it Sabina and Irwin?
Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can bring up the Schmoedown bracket. It's out there, right?
Yeah, I feel like it might be Sabina Graves and Ethan Irwin.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah, I can't. Oh, here we go. Ultimate Schmoedown Anarchy Team Bracket. Here we go. Reilly, it would be Irwin or Graves or Bibiani Nost. I saw Bibiani Nost.
Yeah.
It's Ethan Irwin or Graves. So that's.
I mean, Irwin and Bibbs are both.
They're tough.
Very good.
They're very good. They're very good. We're gonna have to
either one.
And we won't worry about that now. We gotta look
let's not put the cart in front of the horse.
Yep,
we have to win a
look
match
at
first.
Fouch and Zipper right now. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go in hot. The ring rust is gone. Ben Bateman firing on all cylinders. My friend, thank you very much for coming on the Reilly Roundtable.
Thanks for having me, man.
Episode 15, learned a lot about you, your journey here, music that you're into, the Schmoedown. Good luck with everything you have going out there. Give some plugs, man. What are you working on?
Well, if you guys love movies, check out Action Movie Anatomy every single week on the Popcorn Talk Network. Andrew and I have done 170 episodes of that show.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, 3.5 years.
Very cool.
If you like exclusive behind the scenes content and us, being dumb, then go check out patreon.com/teamaction.
There it is.
There's a bunch of different levels and there's we have a new thing we've introduced where at a certain level you get to suggest an impression you want us to do of a celebrity doing a famous movie speech. So we just put the first 2 up. Drew was Albert Finney, old Albert Finney, talking like this, doing the Bill Pullman speech from Independence Day. And then I did...
That's fantastic.
I did John Lithgow as Quaylen from Cliffhanger.
Oh, my God.
You want to kill me, don't you, Tucker?
Yeah.
Doing the Respect the Cock speech from Magnolia.
Oh, my God.
Those are up currently right now on the Patreon. We're doing more of those. There's a drunk watch-along we just did for Mission Impossible 3.
Nice.
I didn't even talk about that. I'm so mad at Dagnino.
I know. Dagnino, yeah, well, we'll wrap it up here. We'll tell a little bit of a story here. Dagnino, one of my dear friends.
He was supposed to, come on, Ards.
He's supposed to come on. I had no idea that he double booked himself.
Yeah.
he mentioned something like, I have to get, I was supposed to do this thing with Guy and Ben. And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, you know about this thing for a while now.
Yeah.
But our thing, because we're doing beach days with the boys. And he went, oh, yeah, it's cool. They'll be fine. And then he shows up and everything was fine. We post pictures and everything. Roxy came in hot. Collider Live.
Yeah.
She called his shit out.
Yeah.
We got him on the phone. Rightly so. He flaked on you.
Yeah.
He flaked.
Yeah, it's not cool to flake on your friends.
No, it's not cool. We're going to have to bring it up at our next management meeting because he is managing us. So, You never know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it all plays out in the ring at the Schmoedown. This has been episode 15 of the Reilly Roundtable. Thank you again, everyone. Ben Bateman, where do they find you on Twitter?
Oh, you guys can find me at Ben Bateman Media, Twitter, Instagram, what have you.
There it is. And you can find me at Reilly Around on Twitter and Instagram. Please like and share this podcast. It is on One-on-One with Christian Harloff, that podcast feed, which you can get every Thursday. The Reilly Roundtable drops every Thursday on the Podcast One feed, the One-on-One Christian Harloff Podcast One feed. Once you rate this, like this, share this, tell everybody about it. And if you do want additional content, like Ben is doing with his Patreon page, you can come over to my Patreon page as well, patreon.com/The Reilly Roundtable. We have all new shows there every Sunday. I do Sundays with Reilly, which is a little bit of life talk.
Cool.
Do Google Hangouts, where we're going to do some Schmoedown questions. I already have that. You can do access to a Discord server where it's a private chat with me only. And then we have Screaming at the Void. That's a Patreon tier where I do a show with Tom Dagnino.
Oh, great. Killer.
A lot of nonsense there. So if you're interested, patreon.com/The Reilly Roundtable. Lots of good stuff over there. But again, this is episode 15 in the books. I'm going to see you again, Ben, in the ring. We're going to kick some ass. Can't wait for it. And for everybody out there, thanks again for sharing the Reilly Roundtable, for your tweets, for your comments, for everything and all the support. I really appreciate it. We will see you next week. A brand new episode of the Reilly Roundtable drops on Thursday. See you then.